Hi guys, welcome back. We're continuing on with our unit with data distribution. We're almost to the end of it, and then we'll be moving into financial literacy. Woohoo! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about relative frequency today. You've actually had a little exposure to it earlier in the year with percents and changing from decimals and things of that nature. So that's coming back into play, and we're going to be creating percent bars. All right, so let's take a look at what you got to do. We're going to focus in on frequency tables today. All right, relative frequency. A percent bar graph shows the relative frequency of each category in a single bar. How do you make a percent bar graph? Using a table of data, find the relative frequency or the percent for each part in the table. On your percent bar, mark each percent as a part of the whole. And in step 3, make a key for your bars. So we're going to practice that and see if we can't get the hang of what they're talking about. So our first question says, the table shows a number of each type of performance at an arena. Here are the 2 questions that go along with it. The first one says, what percent of the performers were comedians? The second one says, what percent of the performances were musicians and dancers? So they want the percent. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get the total of my table, okay? Let's see here. We got 6 and 4, that makes 10. We have 26, 14, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to put total and I'm going to put 50, okay? That's going to help us. All right, what percent of the performances were comedians? I see comedians and I see 4, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 out of 50 were comedians. But remember, they want a percent. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can do Tybo, which will give you a decimal, and then you have to use Dr. Pepper to change it to a percent. Or you can see if you can make it equivalent to 100. I'm going to show you both ways, okay? Let's do the equivalent. Can I make 50 equal to 100? I can. If I multiply by 2, I will get 100 on the bottom. Isn't a percent out of 100? It is. So because I multiplied by 2 to get 100 on the bottom, I need to multiply by 2 on the top. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 out of 100, that is 8%. Okay, so what percent were comedians? 8%. Now let me show you with Tybo. Maybe you didn't realize that you can make 50 equal to 100. I would do top in, bottom out. Top in, bottom out. 50 can't go into 4, so I need to put a 0 and a decimal. 50 will not go into 40 either, so I need to put a 0 and add another 0. So I need to see how many times will 50 go into 400, okay? So I need to do some side math. 50, let's do 50 times 4. That's 20. That's 200. So let's do 50 times 6. Almost there. Let's try 50 times 8. All right, so we got to 400 with 8. Okay. All right, I have my decimal, but remember, I don't want a decimal, I want a percent. So I would need to use Dr. Pepper to change a decimal to a percent. So that's 2 to the right, 1, 2. So now I have 8%, which is what my answer was. Okay, so if you can make it equal to 100, you save yourself some work. But if you can't figure that out, Tybo will still give you your answer. Okay, all right. The next question says, what percent of the performers were musicians and dancers? All right, so I have musicians at 14 and I have dancers at 6. So I need to do, let me use a different color, 14 plus 6 is 20. And remember, it's out of 50, right? 20 out of 50. I already know that if I multiply by 2, I would get 100. So at the top, 20 times 2 would give me 40. 40 out of 100 is 40%. Okay. Again, I'm going to show you with the Taibou. 20, top in, bottom out. 50 won't go into 2. Also will not go into 20. Ding, ding. Okay. 50 will go into 200. And we actually already did this scrap work over here. 50 times 4 gives us 200. So I'm going to put a 4. I have 0 left over. But now I need to use Dr. Pepper to change my decimal to a percent. So here's my decimal, 1, 2. Notice that there's a blank here. I need to fill that in with a 0. And then 40% is my final answer. Okay. All right. So that is with the table. Now let's try it with that percent bar that they were talking about. Let's look at our second example. All right. This one says the table shows the number of each type of fish that was used to stock a local pay lake. Determine the relative frequency for each fish. Summarize the data using relative frequency, okay? And it says round to the nearest percent. Let's see if we need to do that. All right, so first of all, I need to get my total to see what I'm working with here. Let's see, I have 150, I have 200, and I have 50. Well, if I put 150 and 50 together, I get 200. And then 200 plus 200 is 400. So I'm at 400, okay? All right, the relative frequency is the percent. They want to know what is the percent for each one of these. All right, so we're going to have to do some math here. Good thing I gave myself a lot of space. So I'm going to do 150 out of 400, okay? Because this is already an even 100, well, it's 400, but I can simplify this. I can go down. What did I do to 400 to get to 100? I divided by 4. So if I divide by 4 up here, I will get what my percent is. Because remember, a percent is out of 100. So let's do that. 4 divided by 150. 4 won't go into 1. It'll get close to 15. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 left over. 4 times 6 is 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 7 is 28. With 2 left over, we need to add a decimal. And then 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so we have 37.5. 37.5 out of 100 is 37.5%. Okay, yes, you can have a decimal in your percent. It's saying 37.5%. Okay, all right, let's look at the next one. 200 out of 400. Again, if we divide by 4 on the bottom, we get to 100. So we need to divide by 4 on the top so we can get our percent. Okay, 200. 4 won't go into 2. It will go into 20 5 times. 0's left over, but we still have a 0 here. So we need to bring it up. So 50 out of 100 is 50%. Okay. And then the last one is 50. So we're going to do 50 out of 400. Dividing by 4. 4 will go into 5 one time with 1 left over. 4 will go into 10 2 times. 8, 9, 10. Add a decimal so we can finish dividing. And then 4 times 5 is 20 with 0 left over. So we have 12.5 out of 100. So our percent is 12.5%. Now it makes sense that we have another decimal because remember, all of this is supposed to add up to 100%, okay? And if we do that, let's make sure. So we have 37.5, we have 50, and we have 12.5. 10, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 100. So our percents add up to 100%. So we know that we converted everything correctly. All right, so we have our percent for each one of these. Now we need to draw our percent bar, okay? So remember, percent bar is always out of 100%, which we already made sure that this added up to, okay? So let's do the one that's self-explanatory. Catfish is 50%. So we're going to say 50% is right here. And I'm going to go like this. Okay, that's my catfish. Okay, the next one is bass because it has 37.5%. So I'm going to say, let's see, 30, 50. So that's another, if I add that together, we get 87.5. So I'm going to say, and this is all up to you how far you go. I'm going to say right here is where my bass is going to go. Bass, and I'm going to do dots for my bass. And then the rest of this is carp, 12.5%, which will take me to my 100. And I'm going to do diagonal lines, okay? So I'm going to make my key up here. So my catfish had diagonal lines. My bass had dots, and my carp had diagonal lines. Because it says that we have to make a key to what we represent in our percent bar, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is relative frequency with a table. You're gonna go ahead and do your assignment for today. Got a couple of questions, finding the percent, and I don't think I'm gonna make you make the bar, but you might have to look at the bar and tell me the answers. All right, guys, as always, if you need any extra help, let me know. See you tomorrow.